Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and welcome to Filler Thursday. How are you doing?
I I am doing. I am doing. No, I'm not. I'm not doing anything.
Excellent.
I have exactly 9 days off for the summer. It's the end of the school year. Everybody's so excited about summer break. I start teaching again on July 5th. I am going to revel in doing nothing.
Ugh, I love that for
I've got
you.
a lunch date planned on Monday. It's not like a date, just a lunch date. And then I'm going to a concert on Tuesday with some of my friends.
Oh, my concert.
Nathaniel Rateliff.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
Nobody knows who it is except for me and like three of my weird indie friends, and we're so excited.
Who's this person?
He's like an indie folk singer.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Tell me his name again. Nathaniel
Rateliff.
Rateliff.
Um, Interestingly, my friend in Thailand, who is a musician who I decided I was in love with the first time I heard him sing, and really I'm not in love with him, but I'm in love with his songs, like the lyrics that he writes. Like they're like the kind where I'm like, oh, if this is your soul, we should be together because we are the same person. But really, we don't have anything in common except for feelings um, about other people. um, but he was like, this is my favorite singer, you should go listen to him. So I downloaded one of his albums like 2-3 years ago, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then I found out he was coming here, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I found out that a bunch of my friends, like Tracy, Anna, and Rachel, are who are going with me because that it just makes sense. That's my people, my tribe. We're going to concert on Tuesday. And then sometime next week, I'll hopefully go to Shakespeare in the Park.
Yes, yes. Good times. I'm going to do that too.
So just enjoying. And my brother comes to town next week.
Yay! So where is he coming to town from? Florida?
Yes,
Sometimes I forget which sibling is placed where.
correct. Yes. So George will be in town next week, which is exciting.
That is exciting. That'll be so fun. This is the first time he's been home since he's moved, or?
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, I was in Florida in February, and then he came to Massachusetts for the funeral last month. So like I've seen him.
Yeah.
But this will be the first time he's home.
Aw, that'll be nice.
And Renee's coming with him. So they'll both be here. And when she came home in December, he wasn't with her. She just came to see her family.
Mm-hmm.
And her and I went to the potential wedding venue. So we have to take George to the wedding venue while he's here next week.
That's gonna be so fun.
Yes. So I've got a good, exciting week up ahead.
Yeah.
This week I cried all of the times because my little baby 8th graders graduated. And one of my kids, the one who, I don't know, he's a weird rat obsessed mustached lanky little fucker, and he moved to this school last year, but he was virtual last year, so this was his first like full year at the school, and everybody has said how much he has opened up and how they never would have known how funny he was and how great he was. And I'm very close with his parents. He's the one that I gave the award to, that I went to lunch with his parents a couple weeks ago. And at graduation, I couldn't find him. And I grabbed his dad. I was like, where is your child? And he was like, he's outside waiting for you. And I went out there, and his mom was crying. And she was like, I just want you to know that all of those nice things that everybody has to say about him, they're because of you. Like, you have shaped him coming out of his shell. And like, and then like my little African implant baby, he sobbed. Like he was uncontrollably sobbing. He was like, I don't want to say goodbye. And like my bonus child was like giving me so many hugs. And it was a lot.
Yeah.
You don't think that after 9 months, like you can have that big of a hole in your heart saying goodbye to people, but you can.
Yep. That is true.
Luckily, I think 5 of the 11 of them have younger siblings still at the school. So they can't
They'll
run
be
away
around.
from. And 10 of the 11 of them are going to private Catholic high schools. And I have at least one friend who works at every single private Catholic high school. And so the kids, not only do they know that I will know everything about them, they know which teacher I'm going to find it out from. I told them, I went through each of them. I go, okay, so at this high school, here are all the teachers that I will text to find things out about you. At this high school, here are all the teachers that I will text to find things out about you.
I love that. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. So like, it's been a roller coaster of a week. That is for sure. How about you? How are you?
Good. I'm tired. It's been a very busy week at work for me.
Has it?
I've been yelling at people in emails. I was only at work like 3.5 days. I was only at work like 3 days total because Monday we were off for Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we did Sarah's birthday, and her birthday was yesterday, but she was going out of town. So we did her birthday lunch. So we left at 1. And then I was there all day Wednesday and Thursday. And then we got off at noon yesterday for who knows what reason. I don't know. But they said I was getting off at noon, and so I left at noon. And
I also
so much.
good. I also didn't work Monday. Tuesday was a half day. I stayed at work a lot later, but Tuesday was a half day. And then we had our drama club picnic where we revealed our musical for next year, which if you are not friends with me on Instagram or Facebook, is Shrek. We're doing Shrek next year, and I was so excited. And then Wednesday was also a half day, and then I just stayed and cleaned. And then Thursday, we went on a historic boat cruise for work.
Yeah.
So great. And then yesterday, I just went to the school and cleaned my classroom for a couple hours. So I also did not work this week.
But
to be fair,
work. I just wasn't there.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, I had to finish report cards and all of the end of the year emails and end of the year gifts and like summer reading lists. And I was working like a crazy person, just not in my classroom.
Right. That's exactly how I felt. I was so busy this week. I got through so many emails and so many copyright office emails. It was everything's changing. We had a big NMPA quarterly meeting, and it was just on top of Songwriters Week being last week. I'm like, I've had too many meetings. Too many things have happened.
Oof.
So on Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday. It was because I worked Thursday. I walked home. So I was like, I just need to like breathe. And I left, and it was like misty and kind of sprinkling, which is my favorite weather. And so I was like walking home, and it was like semi-raining on me, and I just like walked through Bryant Park, and it was so nice. And then I walked down to 3rd to cross over. Normally I like walk down 5th Avenue or Lexington or something like more poppin'. But I was like, I just want to walk down to the street, like not to triangulate where I live, but like that I'm off of. And so I walked down, and I learned there's like a library like 2 blocks from me. I didn't even realize there was one so close, because I was like, oh, I just thought the big library was the big New York Public Library was my closest.
Yeah.
No, there's a whole nother one that's like 2 blocks away.
I didn't know there was one there either.
I didn't either. And so I found it. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to wander around. I was like, I don't know what time they close. I couldn't find. Turns out they closed at 6, and I got there at 5:30. But it's very small. It's very nice. And I walked in, and they had this table in the front, and they were like, everyone can take 3 books for free. So I have some books. I have not read any of them naturally, because I don't read books. I just buy them.
Yeah.
But these were free, so I didn't even buy them. So I got this book called The New Girl, and it's by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and it seems really interesting. It's about a new girl joining a school, and there's murder and drama and all my favorite things. And then I got this book by Jennifer Donnelly, who I've heard of but haven't read any of her stuff.
Yeah.
Called Poisoned, that is a spin on Snow White. And
Nice.
Love that. I love a good Disney twist book. And then the
Yeah.
last book I got is by Adam Silvera, and I've heard of this book and never read it, heard so many good things about it. And it's called They Both Die at the End.
I have heard about that. I haven't read it either.
I was so stoked to get it for free. Like,
Now that it's summer and I have time to read books for myself, I'm going to share book stuff. But just since we're sharing books, I'm going to tell you guys what my classes are reading for their summer reading books.
oh, yes.
So the incoming fifth graders, the current fourth graders, are reading. Oh my God, what did I make them read?
Now you've forgotten everything you were going to say.
No, literally, it's the only one that I'm blanking on. What? Oh, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind.
Oh, I never read that one.
Yeah, but and that's nonfiction, but it is a good story about African ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
The current fifth graders who are going into sixth grade, they're very excited because they really, really wanted to read this one, and then we ran out of time in the school year. They're reading Number the Stars.
Another one I haven't read, but I know is excellent. I've only heard good things about it.
The incoming seventh graders, my current sixth graders who hate reading, and I can't imagine that any of them are going to do well on this, are reading A Wrinkle in Time.
Oh, such a good one. I reread that book when the movie came out, and then I didn't watch the movie. I just reread the series.
And then my incoming eighth graders, my current seventh graders, they're also excited because we were supposed to read it this year and it ran out of time. They're reading a book called Rising Water, which is a very new book. It's less than 3 years old because it is a nonfiction book about the Thai cave rescue that happened while I was in Thailand. So like I have a really, really cool perspective on it. So like it's fun to teach it because like I know it. So those are their summer reading books. I told them that their Google Classroom is going to be open come July and they're going to have stuff to do over the summer.
That's so nice. I love it.
Hey. I'm currently reading a book called Shufto, which is a nonfiction book about an immigrant family moving from Sudan to Egypt to America, but it is written by the uncle of my kiddo at school.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. It just finished A Family of Strangers, and I'm getting ready to start a new one that I've forgotten. It's one I'm very excited about, and I've forgotten about it. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks because my brain and face don't have time to look at things half the time. Let me see what the book is, 'cause I'm actually really excited about it. Oh, The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy. It's a Netflix show that just came out.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so I was like, I really wanted to read the book first, so I finally downloaded it, and so I'll be listening to that so I can watch the show.
Nice.
Very excited. Other things I'm excited about is spiritual card.
Yes. What is our advice for the day?
Our advice for the day is a good one. It's a good one. Be kind-hearted and full of love, but maintain boundaries like an emperor. And that is
that. I need that. I always need that in my life.
So, kindness
and boundaries. Yes. Perfect.
Oh.
Kindness but boundaries do not exist in Bates Motel.
In Bates Motel. I was trying to figure out how to word that, and that's what I wanted to say also, which is what we're discussing today. And I did not turn to my page of notes because I never do. There we go. So this is Bates Motel Season 2, Episode 4. It is called Checkout.
Okay.
And I have a fun comment later. So it aired on March 24th, 2014. So almost
my birthday
of 22. It's like, what year? To do math for a second.
22. Was that the year I got strep throat? Yeah, that might be the year I got strep throat for my birthday.
Fun times.
No, I lied. That was 2015. Okay, no.
This episode was rated 8.2 out of 10, which is, in my book, a little high, honestly. Not that it's a bad episode, but it's rated higher than some others that I thought should have been rated higher than this one.
Okay.
The number one song is shockingly still Happy by Pharrell.
Hate it.
The number one movie is one I've never heard of, and I don't know how, called Noah. It had Russell Crowe, Jennifer Connelly,
Oh,
and Emma Watson.
yes.
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 Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I remember when it came out.
I don't.
It's about like Noah, like from
Noah's
the
Ark.
Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked it up because I was like, maybe I just don't know because it's a single word. Nope, I didn't know this movie existed.
No, I definitely remember when that came out. Cool.
Well, this is when. This is the time. And it was
Cool.
very popular.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Not a lot of happy things happened on this day.
No, I can't imagine. It's
It
not a
is-
great time.
World Tuberculosis Day.
Did you know that I had to get tested for tuberculosis multiple times in Thailand?
No, but I have also had to be tested for tuberculosis multiple times when I was doing stuff in high school for different events.
I had like they have to for you to have a work permit in Thailand, you have to be yearly tested for TB.
I wonder if you have to do that here too, because I mean, like when I did, what's the doctor's one? Basically a medical internship in the summer while I was in high school. And when I did that, I had to get tested for TB like twice. And
I had to get tested twice in America for each school district I taught for. Like when I started working at a public school district, I had to get tested, but each school district wouldn't share medical records, so I did have to do it twice.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I guess that makes 5 times that I've had a TB test. But in Thailand, it was just a regular, like I did a regular blood test and they scanned it.
Oh.
In America, it was the weird, bubbly
skin
skin one that freaks me out.
That's the only one I've ever had is under the skin bubbly one.
Nope, I hate it.
Yeah, so good times, TB. The Time Person of the Year was the healthcare workers who were fighting Ebola, because this was Ebola times. I mean, what are you going to do? And if that doesn't feel weirdly nowadays enough, Russia and Ukraine were fighting. So here we
Everything is cyclical.
Everything is the same. So that's that day.
Great. I love it.
Sorry,
Here
it's
for it.
lifting, and that everything is cyclical, as you said. The director is again different. I don't know where Tucker Reeves was. I think
that was our guy.
Tucker Gates. He was Tucker.
I don't.
It's Tucker something. I've forgotten. He's not here right now. I don't know if he's coming back. But we have John David Coles, who is known for House of Cards.
Okay.
11/22/63 and Homeland.
I love 11/22/63.
Does everyone else? I have not seen it. I want to read it first.
Which is fair. You can ask Kate when it came out. I think Nancy Montana, Kate, Lauren, and I watched it 15 times.
I think I've talked to her about this before.
we
Oh my goodness, I forgot the best news from this week. Stop everything. I have to tell you this news first.
Oh boy.
So I was at work and I got a message from Jamie, Haley's husband. Well, we're like in a group together, and so it's the 3 of us. And he sent me a video, and Thomas has started saying Coco. Oh, I cried. I was at work and I cried. And the next day he sent me a video. I don't know if you've seen, but Thomas has this is their like almost 2-year-old child. For those of you who do not know our lives. They have this little book that Aunt Tony made him when he was born of like all the family. And so like there's a picture of me on like FaceTime because obviously I couldn't be there.
Right.
I'm in the book still. And Jamie sent me another video from the next day, and he had like gone and pulled out the book and he opened it to my page and kissed my page and picture. And I was like,
It's okay. My niece in person, like Zara knows who we all are in person, like and everything. But when you're showing her pictures, she will say grandpa, she says grandma, she says uncle when she looks at George. But for me and my other sister Gabby, she can't tell the difference between the two of us and her mom. We're all mom.
That's so funny.
Like in person, she knows I'm
Right.
Auntie Em, but in picture, I'm also mom.
That's so funny. Sorry, did not mean to have a breakdown.
Guys, 1.5-year-olds are the best.
They are. They are. I didn't know, but they are. Oh, I cried 2 days in a row because it was 2 different days he sent me these videos. And
Oh,
I was
Thomas.
just so happy.
But yeah, so Kate and Monty and I watched 11/22/63 so many times.
Yes, I am going to watch it. Me and Vanessa were literally just talking about it like 2 days ago, and she was like, "You have to read the book too." So I am going to read the book, and then I am going to watch the show, because I mean, it's a weird Stephen King one. It's not like a typical Stephen King.
So when I found out, because I started watching it before I even realized it was based on a Stephen King book, and then when I found out it was Stephen King, I was like, "Wait a second, what?"
I know, that's what I've heard. I'm excited.
So good.
Anyway, so he also directed Homeland. Those are the things he's known for. I don't have a lot of information about him because there's not a lot out there. I didn't really know. I mean, he did a lot of other like crime shows. I mean, he did Law and Order, The Sinner. He's like done episodes on all these different types of shows.
Yeah.
Similar but different. We have one new writer who we actually had 2 episodes ago, and I didn't realize it. But this is the only 2 episodes she's directed for the show. At least, I mean, written for the show. But as of now, we had the same writers still, but then she was added.
Okay.
Her name is Liz Tigelar, I believe is how you say it.
Okay.
She is known for Little Fires Everywhere, which I read but haven't seen. And I didn't care for the book, but I heard the show was better.
Right. It's one of the few ones that I have heard the show's actually better.
I mean, it's Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon, so like,
right,
fair. I believe you. She also wrote on Nashville.
Okay.
The things I've seen that she's written on, one of the big shows she's written on was Casual from Hulu, and I love that show. It is dark. Have you seen it?
No.
It's dark, it's emotional, and it's kind of like, I don't know if like static. It's not as dramatic, but there's a lot of things that happen.
Okay.
It's really good. And then Revenge, which was one of my favorite shows. I love that show. Yeah. And she were on a couple of episodes of Once Upon a Time, but I didn't see which episodes they were. So, she's a good one.
I love Once Upon a Time.
I know, me too. And the person that I want to talk about this week, one of our guest stars, or for now stars, is Paloma Kwiatkowski. She's Polish, in case that wasn't clear. She plays Cody.
Okay, that makes sense.
And again, not a whole lot about her. She doesn't have a ton of credits of things I knew. She is known for, she played Talia in Percy Jackson.
Okay.
I have not read or seen. One day, maybe. And the other thing she's known for is a movie called The Christmas Calendar. I don't know where it's from. It looked very Hallmarky. Could have been Netflix Hallmarky.
I'm trying to remember. So Kristen Chenoweth did this one Hallmark Christmas movie probably like 5 years ago, but it like was about, she moved to the small town and there was these firemen and she made a Christmas calendar with the firemen, but I think that one was called like 12 somethings of Christmas. Like I don't remember which Kristen Chenoweth calendar Christmas movie.
Yeah, this is not it because she's not on the front of it. And if it was Kristen Chenoweth, she would be on the front of it.
That's fair.
So not this one. But yeah, so I have not seen this movie. I do not know anything about it. I know nothing else about this woman other than she's from Canada, like everyone else associated with the show.
Right.
Yeah, so to go back to my notes where they start. Right, so we left off with our big reveal of Caleb being Dylan's dad. That was a big one. But we start with Emma in bed with Cupcake Boy. who I probably should start calling Gunner, but
Totally.
I don't know. We'll see. So we assume at this point that she's slept with him. We don't know. She doesn't know because she drank too much. And when she's getting herself together outside, a woman's like, there's a guy passed out in the truck. How do I talk to a manager? And she's like, what? Turns out Dylan has passed out hanging out of his window of his truck with like vomit everywhere. It is disgusting.
I said, man, Emma has all of the shit to deal with today.
Always on Emma. Bless her heart. And she goes to try to wake him up and he doesn't get up, but he's not dead. Thankfully, I was not sure for a second. It's like, is this the end of Dylan suddenly? But it wasn't.
It was not. He was breathing.
Right. So she tries to wake him up and she can't. So she goes and like wakes Norman up. And I would have like jumped out of my skin if she just like showed up in my bedroom out of nowhere. But I mean, it was for a good reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to be awakened by people that I'm not expecting in my house.
Fair.
And he's like super snappy with her when she's trying to like get him to help her. Like, and she's just like, what's going on? And he's just like, none of your business. No, nothing's happening. And it's like, okay, calm down, Norman.
Okay, Norman, number one rule for someone who lies as much as he does, stop yelling every time you lie.
Right. Because it's very clear.
Yeah, I had to explain that to one of my sixth graders. I was like, hey, honey, every time you yell or every time you lie to me, your voice goes up 2 octaves. I know you're lying. You're not good at it.
Right.
Norman also not good at it.
No, but hopefully she is not a psychopath like Norman is. So we're going to assume she's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. My student. No, he is, maybe he's not a Norman Bates, but he might be a little bit messed up in the head.
Well, yeah, no one's Norman Bates, so that's good. So then Norma shows up and she's being so motherly to Dylan.
I had a breakdown here in this moment. And then Dylan had the same breakdown much later. So it happened. But it suddenly made sense why it is so hard for her to be his mom. Like, because you see her when she's doing this and she is taking care of him. And like in the last episode when she was like going to do his laundry for him, she does love him.
Right.
But how do you mother someone that every time you look at them, you're reminded of the most traumatic thing that has ever happened to you?
Yeah, that's totally fair. And real bummer. And it just adds another layer to Norma's doing the best she can. And everything I learn about her makes me feel less like she's a psychopath for things she's done in the past.
No, seriously. I'm like, this episode was so hard to watch because I am so team Norma right now.
I know. I am. Yeah. I accidentally found out spoilers, like 3 spoilers in like 1 sentence. I was trying to look something up and I was like, Jesus Christ. So
don't tell me because I know nothing.
I'm not telling anyone. I'm going to pretend like I don't know. I'm going to forget it because that's what I do. I mean, I forget things I
mean, you do forget things anyway.
So hopefully I just, if you want to follow my mental decline, this is where you do it. Hopefully this will be one of the things I forget. So Norma's being motherly and then she goes outside and she like vaguely questions why Emma's there. And Emma's like, oh, I'm here to help out. She's like, it's 7 a.m. And she's like, yeah, it's a busy day. And she's just like, okay, whatever. I'm like, okay, Norma, you've got a lot going on. I understand. Just
my note here was Emma is the only convincing liar of the 3 of them.
She truly is. She was on it. Like, and could you imagine, like, I've had multiple drinks more than I should have some nights. And the next day, you want me to like come up with something? I barely could tell you my name probably. I'd be so tired. I'd be so cranky. Like, I don't know that I could lie that quickly.
I probably could, but I also have never blacked out. Like, no matter how drunk I've been, no matter how drunk I've been, no matter how many stupid things, like I've woken up in the next morning and been like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. But I've never been like, did I do that? Like I've never been to the point where I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I might be cranky, but I could probably still lie.
But like, also, she did not look disheveled enough. Like, I would have. I'm telling you, like, I could have like 2 or 3 glasses of wine the next morning. I'm like, don't talk to me.
God, that's fair. No, the lack of being disheveled, especially for someone with an immune disorder. No,
Right.
no.
So, but yes, you're correct.
I was gonna say when she woke up in a panic at the beginning of the episode, I was very concerned because she didn't have her oxygen tank.
Yes, I was like, what happened? I didn't know she could like take it off to go to bed. I guess so.
I don't know.
Emma.
I know nothing about COPD, clearly.
I also do not.
Oh no, she doesn't have COPD. She has CF. That's the one she has.
Yes.
Okay.
I also do not know anything about CF though either. So that's a blanket statement. Those are things I don't know about.
Correct.
Yeah, so Norma decides she's gonna go kick Caleb out of the town, apparently. And she drives up to the hotel and she just can't get out. And I was like, Norma, you know you are not ready for this. Like,
now,
good on you for trying to like protect your kids, but God bless.
You remember last week I was still very torn and very angry and not like doubting Norma, but like I'm trying with her. This scene was what 100% sold me on the fact that she is not lying, because there was no one else there for her to be showing off to. She was having a legitimate breakdown by herself. And as a person who has been abused, I absolutely related to that feeling of not being able to face them.
Yes. And that is.
And I now 100% believe that Norma told the truth.
Yes, I definitely also believe.
Like, I was like 90% of the way there last week, but this scene was what was like, okay, no, like this is the one time she's for sure not lying.
Yeah. So this scene sent me off the rails, and this is where I found all the spoilers and accident, because this hotel that he's staying in looks very familiar. It's called the King's Motel.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is surely used in other stuff. It looks similar to the one in Breaking Bad. It looks similar to another one I saw recently in a show that I don't remember where it was. And so I looked up where the hotel was, like what it was filmed as.
Yeah.
And instead of telling me where this was used again, it told me like 3 spoilers in like a sentence. I was like, that's not even what I asked. This is not what I asked for. So do not try and look up where this hotel is or what it has been filmed in before, or you will learn spoilers that are unnecessary to know right now.
Okay.
So we'll never know where this hotel was used because now I'm mad. Okay. But I do still believe it was used in other filming. And if you just know off the top of your head, please let me know.
Yeah, please. If you do already know that detail, and you can tell us without spoiling anything, please do. Because I agree that it looked super familiar.
Yes. And it will bother me until I die if I don't figure out where it is. So once the show's over, maybe I'll try and look it up again. But
was it on the trivia for the episode or anything?
Nope. Nope. I tried very hard because I didn't look it up until I looked at the trivia just to make sure.
Okay. That's rude.
But yeah, so we pop back to the Bates Motel, and Emma's answering phones and hiding under the desk because she sees Cupcake Boy going out to his truck. Not bothering her, nothing, just going on his way, and she's just hiding away. And then we pop over to Dylan being awake. And I was like, great. So Dylan's alive, and Norman's in there talking to him, and he's like, how long have you known everything? And he's like, I just found out yesterday. And he doesn't believe him. And like, look, there's a lot of things that I'm like, Dylan, just listen, just think about it. But I get it. He's in a very like vulnerable spot right now. He's very upset. So like, I get that he's not thinking clearly.
I had so much anxiety in this scene because I was convinced that Dylan was going to tell Norman about his dad.
I also thought that. Because he really hardcore leaned into it. And,
he did. And I think he wanted to, but like big brother instincts, no matter how fucked up he was, he still couldn't ruin his little brother's life.
But he put it in his head so that he could ask about it later, which is where we went. So, but Emma pops in and she's asking about what's going on, and Norman just won't tell her. And I'm like, Norman, she's your best friend. Right. She's been through a lot with you.
Yeah.
She knows about this girl that is probably dead, that's now dead in the woods because of the sheriff who is also now dead. This feels less consequential than those things.
Right.
Because this doesn't, like, her knowing doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what's going to happen.
Right.
It just, now she knows. But fine. Pick your battles, I guess. And then we pop over back to the docks, and Caleb is deciding he's going to try and be buddy-buddy again with Dylan. And Dylan goes off on him.
I was like, thank God Dylan believes Norma. Like, and I know he's broken by it and hurt by it, but he believes her.
Which is important.
Yes.
Good for not only her, but also him. Because if he didn't, he would still be in this place with Caleb that he...
Right.
Yeah. And Caleb tells Dylan that he doesn't know what he's talking about, essentially, that he's not his father, and that it's this guy she went off and married. So naturally, more doubt in his head.
Yeah.
But he also gives Dylan his money back.
Which confused me.
I took it as a manipulation technique.
I'm sure it was. I
think that was him trying to confirm with Dylan, in Dylan's mind, that he's the one telling the truth and not Norma. Even though, like, him saying, like, look, I'm telling you this, and this is rational.
But here's the thing. Is it because he knows the truth and is trying to manipulate him? Or is it like sneaky manipulation because he doesn't actually know he's trying to get more? Like, you know what I mean? Like, trying to get more information, trying to get more from Dylan because he thinks that he can work Dylan.
I'm not sure, because I still don't, even at the end of this episode, I don't know what Caleb knows.
Right. That's the thing that
he doesn't know, but I mean, like we talked about last episode, it seems like he does still,
Yeah. I don't know what to think. Like, I don't like him. I don't think he's a good guy, but I don't know what he knows, what his motivation is. Like, he is still such a question mark for me.
Right. And I agree. I also do not know.
Mm-hmm.
But we go to the Bates home. And Christine, Norma's new BFF, is calling her to try to get her to go out with her brother, and her husband. And Norma's like, no thanks. I am not capable of being a person today, which is totally fair and what she should have said.
I did not like Christine's reaction to this.
Neither.
The close-up of her face when she was like, no, like, sometimes people just have shit days and they can't go out.
Right. Also, like, she said she didn't feel well. What if she has the flu? Like, you're not going to come drag her out when she has the flu. Like,
Christine,
somebody who's never...
Christine would have had an Easter dinner in the first month of the COVID pandemic.
Yes. She has never not gotten her way, and it's clear.
Christine definitely had gatherings of 10 or more people.
Absolutely. Not a fan of her.
I love how, like, that's going to be for the rest of our lives as millennials, how we compare things. Like, would you have ignored COVID protocol?
Right.
But then on the opposite, would you have been that asshole who wore a mask alone in your car?
Also true.
Like, that's how we judge people from now on.
Yes. There's a middle ground. So what am I trying to say? Oh, there's a line there. I thought that was a full sentence. It's not the same sentence. So Norman brings it up again, and he's like, you could have told me about this. And she's like, no. She was like, I've never told anyone. I'm not, I barely told you the first part. And
then he's like, what else are you not telling?
So then he took the bait that Dylan laid out and said, what are you not telling me? And she's like, nothing. And
that's when I said, everyone's a fucking liar here.
Yes. And Norma is using Norman again as her therapist. And I was like, Norman, you cannot use your child as your therapist. I understand you've been through a lot. I understand you're going through a lot.
Correct.
This is still not okay.
Correct.
And this is one of the moments where, like, once he, like, they settled in on Norman's face again, his eyes just went so dark. And it was like, I don't know if it was a lighting choice, if it was like a facial choice. Like, you know, like sometimes you can make your eyes away. And so I was like, but this is, you know, where his eyes go dark. And I do have a comment about that going forward, but not yet. Because that scene was chilling. And then Norman.
Wait, this one or the next time?
This one. We'll get to the next one.
Okay, I have thoughts about the
next. I also do. So Norma, tried and true, is cleaning because she's stressed. As we know, when things just hit the fan, this is where she goes. And lo and behold, Christine shows up to make her go out instead of just abiding by her wishes, letting her relax and rest because she needs it. But she's like, hey, you're going to go out. Everything's going to be fine. George is going to pick you up at 7. Okay, bye. And it's like, okay, well, you're not a very good friend, but fine. Because, I mean, sure, there are times in a friendship where, like, you're, like, sitting and you're, like, you need to go out.
Yeah.
Right. You're moping. But it's like, okay, it's been a few days now. You've had time to grieve. You have to get out of this funk or you're going to be in it forever.
Right.
That's when your friend shows up and says, hey, you have to get out. Maybe not send you on a date, but
still, yeah.
But the first, like, 24 hours when you're dealing with your past trauma, not the time. Give her at least, like, you know, a couple of days. And we have this very quick scene where Zane just sends Dylan to go retrieve guns and snaps at him. And I'm not really sure why it was placed there.
I didn't even see that scene.
Because it was about 10 minutes. Literally, like, we go to the weed farm. Zane comes up to Dylan, and he's like, hey, there's a shipment of guns. Go get them. And Dylan's like, okay. And he's like, no, you have to do this. And then, like, walks off. And it's like,
I literally don't remember that scene happening.
I'm guessing it is meant to be a foreshadowing of him going to war with this other gang faction.
No, for sure. But I just don't even remember
why it was placed there or in this episode at all. So
cool.
Don't know. I feel like that was a bad scene placement.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we go back to Emma and Norman. And Norman is looking at the motel Caleb is staying at, naturally. And Emma is still hiding from Cupcake Guy. And then she says something. What does she say in the scene? Like, Norman's like, why are you hiding? And she's like,
she said, I'm not hiding. Not wanting to be seen is different than hiding.
Exactly. I was like, absolutely. You are very correct. And then Cody bursts in, and she is pissed off because apparently Norman was supposed to go to the theater that morning to help her with set.
Which we did actually know because they talked about it at the bonfire the night before.
We did, but I had forgotten because a lot has happened since then.
Which is obviously why Norman didn't go, because a lot has happened since then. Right.
And so, like, fair. And that's pretty much it. She storms in, and then she's like, here's my number. If you're not going to show up, let me know, and storms out. And it's like, all right. And Emma knows this girl and is like, basically, like, she's bad news. She's like, she
goes, she used to go to her school, but she's a dropout. You know, your mom wouldn't like that. I was like,
Yep. So now I'm like, is Emma going to be his next Norma? As opposed to being a relationship or just a friend? Because, I mean, she is in the scale of way things are going. I mean, she's working at the hotel. She's managing the hotel. Like, she's literally following his mom's path.
I didn't even see that.
Right. And since we know that, you know, obviously Norma does not live forever because that's not how it goes in Psycho. I wonder if she's going to kind of take her place for a while. So we'll see. Moving forward, thoughts? And so now Norma is getting ready for her date because, you know, she said she would. And she's acting like she doesn't want to go, but you can kind of tell she does at this point because she is interested in George and she does want to go out with him, even though her life is a disaster currently.
Correct.
And Dylan gets home. And Dylan, among all of the other things, won't just say what Caleb said. He's so drama queen when it comes to stuff like this that it's too far. And I get for the show's sake, they want to drag it out. They want to hold it on, but it doesn't feel natural when they do it like this because it's like.
See, I didn't feel that way. I just felt like it was somebody who was so broken that everything that they used to be kind about, they are now sharp. Like I might know literally says Dylan's going to be so broken and sharp now, and it kills me. Like he doesn't know how to process what he's feeling, so he can't be honest with Norma because even though he believes her, he still doesn't like he believes her enough to be mad at Caleb. But he's still angry enough at the situation that he can't forgive her either.
Right. No, and that's very fair. I definitely agree with that. But I feel like we're getting a lot of Dylan scenes where it's like, if Dylan would just say what he's going to say instead of waiting 15 minutes to say it later, that it like,
now,
that's up a little
I do agree. But remember, he's 22.
That's true.
And I don't know how much experience you have with young 20-something men, but that's exactly what they would do.
Yes. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. It's just, I don't like the way it was portrayed. I felt like it was very repetitive feeling. And they should have chosen a different way to do the same thing, maybe. And then the doorbell rings. And George is there to pick up Norma. And Norman was all gung-ho about her hanging out with friends and going out until he sees that it's a date, not just her going out with her group of friends, which is what she made it sound like. Because you see the look on his face when George puts his arm around Norma, and it is not a happy one.
No, my note says, "What the fuck was that look, Norman?"
Yeah,
it got real dark, real fast.
It did.
And it wasn't even because usually, like so far, the dark has been kind of justified. Like not that it's ever really justified, but like it's been when Dylan is hitting or yelling at Norma, or like when like it's about things that are like actually like justifiably protective.
Right.
This is like a whole other line. And it's also weird because, like, he didn't like Zach. He didn't trust Zach, but he didn't act like that.
I think that this is showing that, like, now he's acting like this because he's progressively getting worse.
Right.
And so, like, if he had met Zach in the same time frame, I think it would have been the same. But because I mean, he wasn't happy about Zach, but he didn't go dark place.
But he didn't go dark, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that it's showing how much quicker he's turning and how much.
Right. I mean, and it took 16 years for him to snap on his dad.
Right. So, but then kind of when he flipped that switch, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So good times. And then we're at the theater, and he is taking his frustrations out on the props.
There's one scene before that, because just the order of the notes. The scene where Emma asks Gunnar what happened is before the theater.
No.
Okay, no. There's multiple scenes at the theater, then I just didn't take notes on all of them, apparently.
Yeah, so this is the one. Yeah, because we go to the theater and he's talking to Cody and she's like, "Are you mad at me because I said you were gay or because of this or whatever?" And he's like, "No, I'm just stressed about my mom." And then he tells her everything.
No. Because I have the notes about him telling her everything after.
Oh, I have the hotel after when Emma talks to him.
Oh, okay. Nope. I lied. I know what my notes are about. Just kidding. You're correct.
So he tells Cody, he's like, "Yeah, my mom was abused by her brother and he's in town and he sucks." And I'm like, you wouldn't tell Emma, who's your best friend, who is like kind of in your family circle now, and you tell this random girl you've known for like 7 minutes?
Correct. I was mad about it.
And so then Cody's all like, "Sure, let's make him nervous and run him out of town. And I was like, great. Now she's going to give him more tools that he doesn't need. Like, he's already very capable of killing on his own. And now she's like, we're going to figure out ways to manipulate and scare people on top of you. People.
Correct.
And, like, obviously she doesn't know he's killed people, but still. This is not great. And, but then we go back to the motel, and Emma's finally talking to Gunnar. She just walks up and knocks on his door, and she's like, we got to talk now. Like, and I said, okay, maybe he is a good guy because nothing happened. He just took care of her.
Well, and we are clearly different human beings because my reaction to this conversation was very different.
Yes, please tell me your thoughts.
Because he is like, no, like, yes, he says all those things. He's a good guy. He didn't take advantage of her, but he said, and if we had slept together, you would have remembered it. And my note just says, oh, goddamn, yes, please.
But that doesn't change any of the things about what I said.
No, it just means that we had very different impressions walking away from that.
That is very true. That is very true. We both took very different things from that scene.
I was like, oh, okay.
You are into Gunnar, and I am putting my cynicism about him to the side for now.
Yeah, no, I am. But also, who am I not into in this show? Let's be honest. No, Norman. I don't.
Yeah,
Norman.
No, let's
but like
start over.
But like Gunnar, absolutely. Dylan, most of the time. Sheriff Romero, please.
Zane.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Right. We don't like Zane.
No.
I don't think that's going to change.
No. No, especially not now.
Right. So this guy's all right. So we're moving on. And they're at dinner. And Christine's husband, who I've forgotten, Peter, I think is his name.
Peter. His name is Peter.
Is too excited about Costco and all these big box stores we're going to get because of this new bypass that is like clearly killing Norma. And he's just like, she's fine. She knows everything. And it's like, just because she knows that these things are happening, don't just drag her down. Like,
also, like, I have very mixed feelings on everyone's reaction to these big box stores because, like, while I understand the convenience and it's not like I don't shop at them, I go to Walmart and Target all the time. Like, I get it. The convenience, the affordability, the modernization, like, I get it. But if I had like a quaint seaside town, 0% of me would want a big box store there.
Right. Because it's going to change the town. And
it changes everything.
A town that has all these secrets, because then you start bringing in more people. You start bringing
in outsiders.
And it's like things are going to change more than just now you have this convenient big box store. Like now also the rest of the world sees your weird little weed town where these crime families are killing each other. Like I would not want to bring someone in specifically for that reason.
Correct.
Like, especially for this. So like, I agree. I don't understand why we're so into, because that makes sense in a town that looks at tourism.
Right.
Their money is not from tourists at all.
I mean, and they do have tourists, but it's because everything's so quaint and under the surface.
Right.
How do you bring that many new? Because tourism isn't, the box stores aren't going to bring tourism. They're going to bring new implants, and residents and workers, and that's going to fuck up your dynamic.
Right.
Which makes sense why Nick is against the bypass, but it doesn't make sense why Alex isn't.
Right. Yes. But maybe Alex is against it because he thinks it will clean up the town, because with all these new people coming in, they'll be forced to kind of clean things up so it's not as obvious.
That's fair. Nope, I can see that.
So maybe that's why he's not against it. But but still, like, it's the town has as much money and the town pays his bills. So there's a lot of things to be concerned about. But George, our resident, who knows if he's a good guy, apologizes to Norma for everything that happens, because obviously he's a normal person and realizes that Peter's kind of being a jerk and Norma's not taking it well, as any normal person would not.
Correct.
So fun times. So now we are back with Cody in the car, and she gives Norman a tire iron.
This is where I went off about how she was a horrible influence, and I was pissed off that he even told her anything to begin with, and that's why I was confused, because I didn't write when I was angry at first.
Right.
I got angry again.
Yes, me too. I got angrier at this point. And so they're going to drive to the hotel to run him out. And Norman is just kind of like, cool, let's do it. And Cody's like, this is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. And it's going to be fine. Everything's going to work out, blah, blah, blah. They get to the hotel and Norman's like, I have to leave. He starts having these like flashbacks of things that didn't happen to him, but as normal flashbacks.
Yeah. Right. But here's the thing. I was really okay with Norman in this moment, even though it seemed weird and dark, because he proactively recognized that he was about to have a blackout and did not want to be there. Right. It was the first time that he like took responsibility for his mentally unhingedness.
Yes.
And I was like,
yeah, I was like, is Norman becoming self-aware of where he's at, what's going on? And I was like, and it's, you know, I mean, he does and he doesn't. I mean, he realizes it later, but still doesn't. He still goes in these blackouts where he doesn't know what's going on. But I mean, as you know, as Psycho goes and everything, but it's but he is, I mean, he is more self-aware in Psycho. He knows that he has these breaks, and so that's why he's like, I can't drink, I can't do this, I can't, like, because he knows bad things happen. So this was our first time we saw him becoming more self-aware of what was happening. Yeah. And I think it's because he's deteriorating so fast that it's becoming more obvious that he's having moments that he's missing and not remembering. Right. And then we go back to Emma and Gunnar. And he's like, okay, why are you relieved that this didn't happen? He's like, it's just been bothering me. And I love the open conversations we're having. Yes. Because this is how you communicate with people. This is how you make sure everyone's on the same page. There's no need for unneeded, unnecessary hatefulness, unnecessary anger.
I feel a little attacked.
Well, if you all just talk to each other, everything is fine, because you can all work out your differences, because it's almost always a misunderstanding. And I will say that from the rooftops. That is my soapbox and has been for the past months with everything in my life.
But like sometimes you can't just be like, hey, I like you. It's fine. We're fine. I'm fine. And my note says Emma is a pure ball of light, and I love her.
Yes. And she knows how to communicate, and so does Gunnar, and everyone is happy. Yes. Because they spoke to each other with real words.
Yes.
So now they're leaving dinner, Norma and George. And I don't know where this shawl came from that she's wearing. I don't know if she was carrying a shawl when she left, but I don't remember seeing it. And now she's got a shawl on. So.
Okay, but to be fair, she like always has a shawl on. So
I know, and I don't know where they come from. They just appear out of nowhere.
She bought it at the restaurant.
Yes, in their gift shop that they have at this nice fancy restaurant. Could you imagine though, like if nice fancy restaurants that weren't Disney affiliated had gift shops?
But could you imagine if nice fancy restaurants had gift shops specifically with things like stoles and shawls for the women who come in nice dresses and then realize it's freezing in the fucking restaurant? They would make bank off that shit.
So much money.
More than they would off their wine, like, to be frank.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and when George goes to drop her off, he asked her out again. And she's just like, thanks.
Yeah, so I had two notes about the scene. One was as George was explaining how taken with Norma Christine was, I was like, there's something fishy about Christine. This does not check out for me. But then I got mad when Norma didn't answer him, because I was like, that was not really an answer, Norma.
But like, to be fair, Norma's got a lot going on. She should have gone out tonight. Like, give her a minute to like.
Okay, but again, this goes back on communication, because like my lunch date on Monday, my friend was like, we talked about where we were going to get lunch and what we were going to do, and he was like, what time would you like to do it? And I said, listen, I've got a lot on my plate on the next couple of days, and I don't really have the ability to brain right now. Do you mind if I get back to you on that later? And he was like, absolutely. It's so easy to be like, I'm not turning you down. I just need a minute.
Right. Totally fair. Yes. I definitely agree.
So,
yeah, and so then we go back to the docks, and Alex Romero is introducing himself to Zane.
his car pulled up, and I go, there's my man. I miss you. Sheriff
Oh, God bless.
Alex Romero. Tall drink of water or wine.
Today. It probably won't last forever, but today we like him.
I always like him.
Okay.
I think at this point he could just kill someone in cold blood, and I'd be like, well, they deserved it.
Well, you keep those thoughts, and I will reserve my judgment because I'm not ready to make that statement fully yet. I don't know where we're going, and I don't know if he's going to kill people in cold blood or if it's necessary. But he is threatening Zane that things better stay civil because he's not going to put up with it in his town. And I was like, good.
Also, he read him. He was like, you seem like the kind of guy who no one takes seriously. So you do some dumb shit to try to make people take you seriously. But guess what? I'm still not going to take you seriously. And I was like,
tell him. And I was like, maybe Romero's going to be the one to kill Zane because he's going to throw off the balance in his town. And that would be okay.
Yes.
I wouldn't take him out of the good category for that.
Fair.
But yeah, so he has this whole thing, and then we go back home. Dylan gets home and Norma's been drinking.
I was confused by that because I literally thought that was water.
I wasn't sure. I was like, did we?
It looked like she was drinking, like the way she was sitting looked like she was drinking, but that was a water jug. And so I was very confused.
And maybe she had just had a lot to drink at dinner and now she was drinking water. So, you know.
Right. That's also an option.
Who knows? Then I was just like, Dylan, do you hear yourself? Because he's like, well, Caleb said it wasn't like that. And it's like, we've already established that Caleb's a liar. Like, we've already established that we don't care for him.
It's just so broken.
I know. It's like, why do you keep trying to use what he says as a defense when it's clearly not?
Because he needs more information. Like, he needs somebody to be honest with him because everyone is lying to him. And, like, I'm not saying that he should believe Caleb, but, like, I get the just desperation. His whole life is a lie.
I agree, but it's like when Caleb's like, it wasn't like that, that's such a cop-out lie.
Oh, for sure.
He didn't even try to be like, look, your mom went through a lot of stuff. He was like, it wasn't like that. It's like, okay, that means that it was exactly
like that. Oh, no, yeah. Absolutely. But then when Dylan said, why did you even have me? Like, you just used me to get out of your bad situation. I was never anything for you but a tool. Like, you don't love me. That was everything that I had already realized she felt about him, and it fucking sucked.
I was like, Dylan, you're not super wrong. I was like, but she loves you even though. And when she says it's not your fault, but it's also not my fault, I was like, yes. It just sucks. Everything just sucks. And it is what it is.
Yes.
And I was like, Dylan, we've already moved past all of this. Please just let it be.
But then I got scared because he left and Norman was not at the door anymore because Norman was standing at the door listening to them fight. And then he opened the door and Norman was gone. And I was like, oh no, where did Norman go?
Yeah. So this is where I started having comments about Norman. So I think, we've talked about how well they've used this subtle look that Norman has. But it happened 3 times in this episode. And I feel like we're starting to get to a point where it's being overused. We have to...
See, I didn't catch the first one.
Okay.
So this was only the second time for me. And I thought it made sense here. So, it didn't bother me.
It makes sense, but it's becoming almost cliche in my mind. And that makes it less effective to me watching it. Like, I don't get the same chills I got from the first time it happened.
I didn't get chills the way I did the first time it happened because I knew that if anything was going to trigger him, this had to be what triggered him.
Right.
So like it wasn't chills so much as it was like anxiety because he didn't know what he was going to do. Yes. So like I still found it effective, just in a different way.
That makes sense. I want them to be a little less heavy-handed with it now.
That's fair.
Or choose other ways to show Norman feeling that same way other than just his eyes, which
I do, and it's true because it's that look from the end of the movie, that last shot, they're relying on that shot a lot to show that there's the psycho still in there. Mm-hmm. And the more they do it, it does take away from the power of the shot from the original movie, let alone how it feels in the show. Yes. So I would agree with you in that sense.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we back off a bit from that. And I think we might, because in the next scene, Norman goes to visit Caleb. And Caleb pushes him because he has taken on full Norma for the first time. And I know we had that one scene where he was leaving Bradley's where he kind of like almost got a little into Norma's head, like saying things she had said, but it wasn't quite.
It wasn't.
He starts having flashbacks to what happened to Norma. And he wasn't even there. And he started acting.
Here's my problem with those flashbacks. And here's how you know that it's not like a weird supernatural thing. It's just like a psychotic break. Because Norma in the flashbacks was adult Norma.
Right.
It wasn't like he was having flashbacks to something that happened as a teenager where there could be some kind of supernatural, like weird out-of-body connection where her spirit's actually there. He's having flashbacks that aren't real.
Right.
And that's not to say that that what he says didn't happen. Like, it's not to say that the rape didn't happen, that the abuse didn't happen. Right. Like, I don't think that's true. But his feeling of having been there is not real.
Right. His becoming her is insane. And I think this was a good place to put that in.
Yeah.
We're almost halfway through the second season.
I literally just like, when he said you raped me, I was like, what the fuck, Norman? Like
Freddie Highmore in this scene did incredible. It was like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it because
Did he win any awards for the show?
I don't know. I didn't look into any of that because I didn't want to find any.
No, I don't either. I think if I look at just his Wikipedia and see like awards, it might.
I'm sure he did. And if he didn't, that's a problem. Because he did, like, I mean, I've seen him in other shows, and he's an incredible actor across the board.
Okay, he was nominated 3 times for a Critics' Choice TV Award, but did not win. He was nominated. What is Fangoria? I don't know the Gold Derby either. He never won an award for that. Oh no, he won the People's Choice Award in 2017. But
that would have been like season 5.
Yeah, but everything else, other time that he was nominated for this, he didn't win.
They must have had some other big shows. I'm trying to look what came out in 2014.
Yeah, now I'm just going to have to look at the Critics' Choice Awards for that year, because like, what?
Yeah, because that's a wild thing. Yeah, so he's going off as Norma. It is scary as hell. It is very convincing and very emotional. And unfortunately, Caleb lives. But he now knows that Norman is crazy. What wine?
The first year he was nominated, he lost to Matthew McConaughey in True Detective.
I heard the first season was good, but I haven't seen it.
The second time he won, he lost to Bob Odenkirk in Better Call Saul, which...
Fair. I mean...
And the third time he was nominated, he lost to Sterling K. Brown in This Is Us.
So he was up against shows that had more recognition than Phase One.
Right. So not to say that any of those 3 actors are bad actors, and I think that all 3 of those roles are great roles, but like this was a an
Yeah.
acting triumph. Like
Yeah.
because Sterling K. Brown played a great man with family drama in a really well-written show. Bob Odenkirk played a character that was more compelling because it had a fan base built in.
Yes.
The actual acting skill that was required.
They did well at what was required, but it wasn't a
Right.
high requirement.
No, yes.
They didn't play
Correct.
multiple
Personalities.
exactly. The only thing that I would say rivals this would be I always forget his name. And the guy in Split.
Oh.
You know.
And he played Professor X.
I always forget his name.
Why? What?
You know. But he's the only one I would say rivals this type of.
Well, what's her name from Orphan Black?
I haven't seen Orphan Black.
But it's the same thing where it's the same actress playing like a million characters. Why? No, it's going to bother me that I don't. Oh, James McAvoy.
Yes, James.
Yes.
It's even Toni Collette. I don't know if you saw the show that she was in and had multiple personalities. Excellent show. And I mean, obviously, she's Toni Collette. She's excellent at everything.
Yes.
I don't think she reached this level still with her most her.
Orphan Black. It was Tatiana Maslany, and she did win a shit ton of awards for it, and rightfully so. But like,
there was also a Netflix show, so it got more recognition to start out. Like people knew it existed, whereas Bates Motel was what were we on FX or something like?
It was FX. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like not on a prime time channel, I guess, and so it didn't have the same opportunities, I feel like.
Right.
But yeah, so Caleb lives. And now he knows Norman is crazy. I'm interested to see where that's gonna go. We go back to the docks where Sheriff Romero is leaving, and he pulls up to a house, and
they tell him he has to leave because he has to go back to his house. They tell him go back to your house.
Yes. And this, first of all, before we get into it, was a terrible lighting choice. Like the way, like when they drove up and the lights on his car were flashing back and forth, it looked more like the TV was cutting out when it has those lines across it than an actual.
Okay, I can see that. No, I liked the red though, because they went from the hotel having all those red lights to the red lights from the fire being so close in color scheme that for a second I thought that I misheard them say something about his house and that there was actually something wrong at the hotel.
I 100% agree. That's what I was gonna say. I liked the next lighting choice with the house and how it reflected on his face and how we had that darkness, but it had almost a feel like the Stephen King Stand, like the original Stand show, like, and so I thought that was, but it was so like it went from this like really terrible lighting of like police car lights that didn't look right in the scene to going to this really excellent
and the worst part is the hotel lighting was phenomenal.
Yes.
Like of Caleb leaving, and then they had the shitty police car, and then they went to the fire light, and it was like they could have done that better because it would have just made the whole transition so much nicer.
Because it took me out of the scene for a second because I was like, did my TV just mess up? Like that's how much I thought about when I was watching that. Like, because it was his house burning was phenomenal looking. Like,
I was so angry about it that I wrote that I was going to kill Zane myself.
Yes, that is fair. Let me go over to the diner, and turns out Norman's just been sitting there for half an hour just staring at the window. And I was like, I bet that was terrifying. Like if I was the one working at that diner, I would not have been like, oh, you have a number on your arm, let me call them. I would have been like, immediately call the police. Like I would have not reacted the same way. But I mean, I'm glad she called the Cody and not the police, but this puts Cody in a weird
right, because my note now says that Cody is going to be the next one to get seriously hurt because she knows he's fucking crazy.
She knows too much now.
Yeah.
And And a interesting, and I like the choice. The very last line of this episode is everything will be okay.
It will not.
And it will not. And we're going into mid-season. We are getting ready to ramp up. So I like that that's how it ended when it's clearly not where we're going.
Right.
I also meant to mention this about Cody earlier on, and I forgot. She was talking to Norman about like parents, because he said it's about my mom or whatever, and she's like, yeah, something about having a single parent. They become like bad enough to make your life as bad as if you had two, and that added up to like what we were talking about with her dad the last time. And I was like, hey, maybe he is alive and he is a bad person. So I think you're on something there. Anyway, so everything will be okay, but not really. Who do you want to punch in the face?
Zane. Like a lot of people, truthfully, but like right in the moment at the end of the episode, Zane, because how dare you mess with my husband?
So I also wanted to punch Zane, but for different sake, I think I'm gonna punch Christine.
Fair.
Hester,
Fair.
what's going on? Maybe
there's something off about her.
So who's your MVP?
Gunner.
I knew you were gonna pick Gunner, so I picked Emma.
Perfect.
And
no, I just feel like when Gunner reacted by being like, listen, you said that you were relieved and I really like you, and so I just need to know, like, do you not like me, or like, are you just happy that I didn't drunkenly take advantage of you? Because like I need to know for my own sake.
Yeah, clarity. Let's have this conversation. Good for everyone. I love it. That was the good scene in the show. The one. Apparently, at some point, "Roar" by Katy Perry played while Emma and Norman were together, and I missed it.
Oh yes, it was playing in the hotel office. I'm trying to remember what scene it was because I
assume it's whenever she was like hiding from Gunner, because that's I think the only time they were in the office together.
Oh yeah, it was when Cody ran into the office and yelled at him, and like she was hiding and then he was hiding, and yes, and I was like, that's weird. Okay.
I was like, that is a weird choice to be placed in this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that. I don't know who the music supervisor was, but I think it was not a great choice. But it is what it is. So that's all I have. Unfortunately, there were no trivia or fun facts or anything.
It happens.
So yeah, if you have any thoughts, if you know where that hotel was located or what else, please let me know. You can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CeCloud13.
And you can find me at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for our Sci-Fi Sunday.
Bye.